We save up the candle ends to add into tin bowls with moss, and they make wonderful reusable candles. And trying to get a reasonable picture of the bread maker. There we go. I really was just making a little film of the kitchen here in the Chieftain's Hall because of this. Made me think to do it because of a Polish chap, very, very little English. As it turned out, there were 4 Polish people working within our team that day, so we had plenty of people he could talk to, but he had very little English. But he came in and I kind of guided him through with sign language and things, pointing and looking like he was asleep for the bedroom and things like that. And then he looked at here, the flour maker, keep calling it a bread maker. And he went, me. And he took hold of it, and then he pretended to wind it round, and he said, 60 years, me. So obviously it's something he'd spent a lifetime doing. I think it was probably it can't be more than 70, so he must have been like doing it all his life from being a small child, be 5-year-old to 65 or something like that. I got a little bit carried away with the candles on my very last day. It just looks a bit brighter than the previous time I filmed here. So I just thought I'd have a roam about, looking at the various things here. These are all Georg's personal belongings, beautiful, beautiful things. People, he's always been a collector, but people bring him gifts. And oops, don't look at them there. And that apparently is full of mead, but I'm not quite sure about the quality of the wood. And there's barley there, and there's other grains in the bottom, tons of bowls, isn't there? And the washing up brush. The first time I came here, long before the town was built, when it was a market or a festival, I came and there's all the tents around, and I got to this tent. They said, "Come on, sit down, make yourself at home." And of course, there's none of the stuff we have now. But they'd cooked a meal, and they gave me a great big meal, and I had a lovely meal, and then fruit to follow, and then they started getting the drinks out, and I had about 4 different drinks. And I said, "It's wonderful that you're so hospitable, and you make me feel so at home. It's lovely." It turns out I was washing up, and there was all the pans and the bowls and the cups and all this mucky stuff, and all there was then was the river, and it's a really steep bank, and they gave me a brush like that. This is why I'm telling you this, you see. Well, it was a double-ended like that and bigger, but it's a Viking washing up brush. I think this one maybe is designed for dusting, but the double-ended bigger ones are for, well, I'm wobbling on the edge of the riverbank with the water lapping up at me, and I washed them pans and cups and bowls. I got them clean in 10 minutes flat. The only problem was it took me an hour to get the mucky bits of food out of the brush. It wasn't that labour saving after all, was it really? Dinky Viking coasters. I'm presuming if Georg's got Viking coasters that they did have such things. I'm sure they did. Well, I'm not actually that sure, but and there's some herb tea that the Liga from Latvia collected up for us. And there's a tea maker that's got like a sort of a holes in the bottom, so that you can pour the hot water through, boiled up on the fire. And then it's just a bit brighter than I did a film of this before, but it's I've got it brightened up today. And this is how I decided it ought to be laid out and looked when I spring cleaned. Everything you've seen in these films I have damp dusted. Well, not the herbs, but they are quite fresh and new. But there is a theory going around between me and my great chieftain that it's going to stay the way I've set it out until I leave, which is the day after tomorrow. And then he's back at work and he'll be probably putting it back exactly as it was. I'm only making fun. That round one there is where I keep incense and charcoal for the incense burner, which is a beautiful thing. I haven't got it going at the moment, but it's I've been filmed with this incense burner here burning by a guy from Iran, and he actually got his elder on the like a religious leader on the phone and made me talk to him live across the world, which is a fantastic experience, while holding this incense burner and burning it, because it's the Polish couple that brought this and gave it to they came specially to give him the first one out of the mould as a gift. They did come back and work at the market, wonderful couple, and you know, and make. I've got loads of them and sell them now, but it was found in a boat burial, I think near Oslo, but it was traced to Arabic lands originally, so it'd been traded for or stolen, but probably most likely traded for from there, and then had been used by Vikings, and of course could well have turned Christian in the end. So it's likely that this incense burner on its chain has been leading ceremonies, as it leads ceremonies here today. I've got a film of. It's been leading ceremonies in Islamic, Asatru or pagan, and Christian within its original life. I know all the rules. I know how to play, but I don't know how to win.